Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I got a rant video, and um, yeah, it's annoying. It's really annoying, but I'll tell you guys why it's annoying. And let me start off with what I just watched, read. It's kind of going a little. I wouldn't say viral. I don't know how viral it's going, but I know it's getting out there. It's getting some attention in the world, and it has to do with this guy who was either he was vaping on a vape mod or he was using an e-cigarette. Most people who are not into that type of stuff they can't distinguish the difference between the two. So, anyways, but apparently it just goes out that the guy was using an e-cigarette and it blew up and he got injured really bad. Okay, according to the article I read, he just had surgery on his spine because he has a broken neck and he has a fractured face and burns on his neck and his face and everything. I feel sorry for the guy, because this does happen. Like, I'm not going to bullshit anyone and say, oh, yeah, vaping is totally safe. This stuff doesn't ever happen. Like, it does. It does, but I'll explain why it does and how it does. And some people may not like what I got to say about it. Let me just start off with some people out there that are talking about it and kind of making light of it. Like, talking about that he looked like he got beat up or something or whatever. Like, that's kind of messed up. That's jacked up to even just bring that up because the guy's he's laid out in bed in pain in a hospital. Like, people don't need to be saying that kind of stuff. I don't know what's wrong with the world today, but I guess I don't know. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I feel like, people should be much more nicer, But so, anyways, so people are going off to say like, see, this is why people shouldn't use e-cigarettes. This is why people shouldn't, condone vaping and all this stuff. And that is just such bullshit, man. And like the highest form of BS ever. And I think it's funny too, okay? Like, looking from the government aspect, like this is exactly what they needed to campaign blocking vaping so they can force everyone back to cigarettes, which is known to be 100 times deadlier than vaping. Battery explosion, yes. A lot of damage could happen physically to you. But I'll explain how that type of crap happens. And most people are not going to admit it's their fault. They don't ever want to admit that it's their fault because all they see when shit like this happens is a possible freaking lawsuit. So anyways, with the government, they're using this kind of like their campaign to block 99% of companies out there that manufacture vaping products. They're not really going after the e-cigarette product because e-cigarettes, some of them are actually manufactured by tobacco companies, and so they're still getting their money. Either you buy a pack of cigarettes, or you buy a disposable e-cigarette, or you buy a reusable e-cigarette with those little cartridges, like the blue e-cig or the Enjoy or any of those. Yeah, some of those are manufactured by tobacco companies. They're not going to lose money, and that's really what the whole big deal is with this thing with the government and vaping. It's not so much that the government doesn't want vaping; it's the fact that I've always said this: the government makes money from tobacco companies. Like, how is it that something that kills people is allowed to exist and be sold? When you look back in the 1920s, 1930s, alcohol was illegal. Only until taxes was able to be put on it and, companies were able to benefit out of it and the government was getting a payout, that's when alcohol drinking was okay. Same with tobacco products. It's known to kill people. Even people who don't smoke that live with someone who does smoke cigarettes, it's been known to kill them. Yet, it can still be sold to someone 18 and over. Well, that's just because tobacco companies pay a hefty yearly fine. A huge fine. And the government relies on part of that money to try and balance out its own bullshit deficit problems they got going on. So, they will side with tobacco companies against vaping products because vaping manufacturers, they are taking away millions away from the tobacco company. You can go outside and I'm pretty sure in your day, in like a 10-hour day outside, going out doing your normal thing, you're bound to run into at least 5 people who vape. 5 people that vape visibly to your eye, and maybe 100 people that vape that you didn't see vaping because their vaping mod or their e-cig was in their pocket. This is becoming a big problem, and I do get concerned from it because this was my method of quitting smoking cigarettes. This was my way out from nearly a 20-year addiction. I took my first cigarette at 7 years old, and I actively, like, daily started smoking cigarettes at 12. Okay? And I quit almost 2 years ago. So, yeah, I don't want to have to go back to using cigarettes. And cigarettes is a very, very freaking hard thing to quit. It really is. I'm surprised I made it this long. So, what causes an e-cigarette to explode? Well, things like this. This is a mod. This is an RDA. This is a mod battery. Inside here, there is a, what they call an 18650 battery. I ain't got nails to pop this thing open now. Jeez. Come on. Okay, so anyways. Okay, it's got batteries like this. 18650 mod. A battery that goes in a mod. Okay? Now, here's the thing. You build coils in here. And you have to learn about, your volts, your watts, and your ohms, your resistance. You have to know those things if you're going to build a coil. Otherwise, if you build something that the battery can't support, the battery is going to overstress trying to support that coil. It's going to blow. That's probably one of the only reasons why people out there have had issues with battery explosions and them getting injured or put in the hospital. And they won't admit it because, again, it turns out to be that it was their fault. Either they did it, stupid little thing, man. Go away. It never fails. Anyways, there is things that you have to research. That's like one of the things that people don't do today. It's like they want to do something, but they don't want to study or learn about what they're jumping into. When it comes to vaping, if you're just going to be a novice vapor that's going to buy one of those cheapy, vape pens or whatever and vape on that, well, those things are more easy to manageable, less likely to get damaged, less likely to explode because everything is pretty much preset and you just fill it with juice and vape. Well, when you're messing with stuff like this, when you're messing with RDAs, when you're messing with mods, now you have to set, the settings, the regulations on it. You have to be the one to make judgments on that. You build your coil a certain way. You gotta make sure that it goes into specifications. And there's charts online that will tell you watts to volts to ohms. So there's no reason why anyone couldn't be able to go look this up. Is what I'm saying. So if you're going to get into modding and all that stuff with vaping, just make sure you do the one thing that people hate to do, which is read. Get online. Read. Follow guys like Rip Trippers. Follow guys like Indoor Smokers, Tia Vapes. Follow those people because they demo things and they teach you things about vaping so your experience is much safer as far as when it comes to battery explosions from mods. Because at the end of the day, when they sit there and they say, like, oh, vaping is supposed to be safe, it is safe for your body, for you, getting your nicotine still without actually inhaling rat poison and all kinds of shit that's in cigarettes. But yes, it can be dangerous if you don't know what the hell you're doing if you're going in a more advanced type modding just to vape. So, yeah. And of course, when you have things like tricksters and all that stuff that do these little jellyfish or whatever, like they look cool or whatever, but it also promote people to want to do the same thing, and they don't go out and learn how to build coils and how things should be regulated and set. And this shit happens. Boom! Battery explosion. So, vape safe, be smart, fucking read for once before you actually start doing some weird shit with your mech mods and whatnot. Read. Learn. Anyone can learn this. It's not hard. It's just reading. Thanks for listening. I'm out.